everybody. Before we get started, I just want to take a minute and thank everybody for your support and everything that's been going on. It's been one hell of a journey, I'll tell you. I'm enjoying it though. So we'll see what Pat, you inspired me with that story today. Okay. I have to keep going to 96 now to keep up with it. Anyway, I want to start off tonight by doing a reading from the language of letting go. And I posted this yesterday on Facebook. And I just wanted to share it today because I just love it. Well, August the 11th, today's reading, healing. Let healing energy flow through your body. The healing energy of God, the universe, life, and recovery surrounds us. It is available, waiting for us to draw on it, waiting for us to receive it. It's waiting at our meetings or groups, on the words of a whispered prayer, and a gentle touch, a positive word, a positive thought. Healing energy is the sun, the wind, the rain, and all that is good. Let healing energy come. Attract it, accept it, let it soak in. Breathe in the golden light. Exhale. Let go of fear, anger, hurt, and doubt. Let healing energy flow to you and through you. It is yours for the asking and for the believing. Today I will ask for and accept the healing energy from God and the universe. I will let it flow to me, through me, and back out to others. I am part of and at one with the continuous cycle of healing. I really enjoyed that reading. It's very special because I really believe in the concept of the healing energy as positive energy. And to continue that, we're working on the gratitude series. I just wanted to continue this concept of developing what I call a life mosaic. You know, it's kind of been a lot of fun putting this together and developing the concept of a life mosaic. We began by starting with life itself. You can't have a mosaic unless you have the foundation called life. So thank God for the gift of life for all of us here today. From life comes family, and all growth takes place in some sort of family. And we have different family systems, even our recovery family. And inside of families, we experience the gift of growth. We're constantly in process of growing and learning new things in life. And when we do that, we have to learn how to have an open mind, develop a sense of openness, so growth can continue its process. We also begin to experience this whole process, the concept of getting in touch with our experiences. And I love the fact that every experience in life is just part of the journey. And some are tough, some are rough, a lot of sadness involved, and yet a lot of joy. We also experience, from experiences, we were given the gift of recovery. Recovery is a root and a foundation that gives us the things we need for the process of recovery to help us on the journey. And that's really important. And so we have to learn how to be able to develop that sense of process and begin to move forward. So tonight I want to talk about something that's really important. It's called the gratitude of the gift of change. Change is a very special word and a very powerful word, and yet, for many of us, a very scary word, because we're always in process of changing. The thing I love so much about life is I finally have learned that there are no absolutes. Everything is in process, everything is changing. And we're experiencing that changing process in everything we do in life, physically, emotionally, mentally, spiritually, socially, in all aspects of life. Everything is in constant process of changing. And as a result, then we kind of have to either go with it, experience it, or we end up getting stuck. I don't know about you, but it's like an adventure to me today to understand the gift of change. But along with the gift of change also comes the gift of grieving. Because it means we have to be able to allow ourselves to grieve, to be able to say goodbye to things in our life so new things can be born. And that's not easy because many of us don't realize it, but we're used to the old and we're afraid to move forward to the new. Because the new, we have the unknown. We have to be able to be open to that. I always tell the story, and I love this story of mine, of what I refer to as the diner theory. And most of you who have gone to 12-step meetings know that some of the best meetings we ever attended were at the diner after the meeting, because that's when we can really let loose and begin to talk and everything. But visualize all of us sitting in a diner. I got to use a diner because New Jersey is famous for its diners, let's face it. So we're all sitting in a diner, and outside the diner, you visualize a bridge going into the unknown. And every once in a while, somebody gets enough guts from the diner to go out and to walk across that bridge, and they disappear into the unknown. And once in a while, they will come back and visit us. And we all say to them, what's on the other side of that bridge? And they tell us, you have to walk the bridge yourself. There's nothing I can really share with you. We all got to make that journey. One of the biggest fears many of us have is fear of the unknown. Addicts know what I'm talking about, because very many times when you put down your addiction, whatever the addiction happens to be, and you begin a new life, the new life is scary. The old life you're used to. And so sometimes it's very hard to move into the new, because it means starting from scratch, beginning over again. It begins relearning, rediscovering. And sometimes it's much easier to go back to the old, because the old, even though it was sick or crazy, at least I was used to it. It was normal to me. Now I'm developing a new normal. So I always tell people, yes, Virginia, there is a normal. And normals are always in process of changing. And look at this in very many ways through the process of grieving, because so many times that we have a hard time realizing the fact that we actually have to move forward. We have to grow. And to be able to do that, we got to go through the process of change. Now, I always got a kick out of the big book of AA. I love the big book for one reason. You'll notice something about the big book. Nothing in the entire big book is absolute. Everything is suggested. Everything is in process. And the only requirement for membership is a desire. It never says you have to get it. It never says, just says you have to have a desire. And so the bottom line is real simple. They also say, take what you can use and leave the rest. And be open to new things and new directions and new changes in the course of your journey in life. And that's what's important. Because what works today may not work tomorrow. That's okay. But enjoy it for today. So it's that process we're constantly going through. So we experience this physically. Our bodies are always in process of changing. We must face the facts of life. All you have to do is get up in the morning and look in the mirror, and you changed another day. Isn't it amazing? It's a process we go through. And eventually you have to be able to look at the stages of life. I'm going to go through them. I did this to my granddaughter for a long period of time. I used to, when I first got her, she was about, I don't know, maybe about 8 inches, 10 inches, maybe 15. She was a little thing. Held her in my arms, so special and so beautiful. Then she went through this process of change and growing. So I figured maybe if I put a brick on her head, it'll stop. It didn't work. Now she's 22 years old and she's taller than me. But of course, she's taller than me and I'm probably shrinking. So we have a combination of both going on. So that's the fun part about old age. I used to be almost 5'9". Now, the last time I checked was 5'7.5". Whoa, here we go. So we'll see what happens. Maybe I can make it down to 5'4". We'll see where it goes. But I have to learn to laugh at this and be open to it, because this is life. It's the process of change that will go on in life. And so we realize after a while that many of us don't want to do that. I mean, look physically, we have the anti-aging creams. We have all these things you can take, all these vitamins and everything else, and you still get old. It's amazing, isn't it? You invest all this money and all these supplies and everything else, and guess what? The process still goes on. It's amazing. I love it. But the beautiful part about it is, it's what life is supposed to be. There's a beginning, there's an ending of everything in life. And that's why we have to be careful about holding on to material possessions, to things, because you realize they're fleeting, like anything else in life. So enjoy the moments, celebrate the moments. But we have a hard time because we deny a lot of this. Then we get angry because we have to change. Why do I have to change? Why can't I stay where I was? But then all of a sudden you realize the fact that we love, here's our codependency, man, I love this. We always love bargaining, trying to figure it out, trying to analyze it, trying to get the answers to everything, trying to figure it. Please stop trying to figure out life. Live life. You make yourself nuts trying to figure it out. And I make myself nuts, you know. All I get out of it is an Excedrin headache. That's about it. Now, in Italian, we get agita. It's totally amazing. You get nuts after a while. The bottom line is you realize the fact that we're going to go through sadness of saying goodbye, and yet we're going to go through acceptance of saying hello. But physically, we got to go through this. Always tell the story I've told before, so I'll never forget it. When I got a membership at a gym. Whenever you get a membership, they always send one of these so-called trainers. And normally it's about a 26, 27-year-old girl. It's going to take me on this training, take me around the gym, show me everything. And so she brought me downstairs. And she said to me, now, see those guys over there in the corner? They're bench pressing, 150 pounds, 200 pounds. They're running, all that kind of stuff and everything else. She said, don't do that. Because you're basically, you're getting older right there in the heart. Okay, thank you. You come with me. Went over to the other side of the gym. She said, I want you to pick up 2 5-pound weights. I said, 5 pounds? Come on. I can pick up more than that. She said, listen to me. Pick up 2 5-pound weights. Then do bicep presses. I want you to do 50 of them with 5 pounds. I'm going to tell you a secret. When I got to about 25 or 26, it felt like my arms are going to fall off any minute. And, there ain't no way I was getting to 50. She said to me, now you listen to me. She says, you have to learn something. As you get older, you have to stretch more, get more flexibility, and lighter weights, more reps. It's all part of it. You learn differently in life and look at things differently. Then she handed me a card. And she said, now, if you decide that you're going to get a little cocky and go over and bench press with those guys, I'm giving you this card. It was a card to an orthopedic surgeon, an athletic guy. She said, you'll need it. Yeah. And, but I did it anyway. And she's right. And I realized today it's a big part of it. I'll tell you another story. I never understood this. My wife gave me a gift a long time ago. She gave me, when I was 55 years old, she saved some money and got me to go to Dream Week with the New York Yankees. I got to play ball with them for 10 days down in Florida. And she went with me. I got to be a New York Yankee for 10 days. Well, it was interesting, some of the drills they took us through, because basically they took us down into the training room, and the trainer from the real New York Yankees was there, and he showed us something. He said, I never realized in the training room there's ballet bars. And he told me they bring in ballet instructors to work with the athletes to condition them and get them in shape, because they need to build strong muscles and strong bodies to be able to handle it. And a big part of it is stretching. I learned so much about that. And I'm learning today, I feel a lot better with myself today because I do a lot of stretching. So I did listen, believe it or not, Loretta, I did listen. So I'm trying my best at it. What can I tell you? But the bottom line is, every once in a while, I still get a little cocky and I think I can do more. And then my body says to me, you're not going to do more. All right. So things change. And the thing I love so much about change is part of the journey, it's part of life, physically, mentally, emotionally. We have to remember, we got to keep our minds active. We got to stay busy. We got to keep moving. We got to keep learning. We got to keep growing. Because if we basically just kind of vegetate, it's like dying while you're still alive. We got to work on this mind and keep it fresh and keep it alive and keep it moving. And I'm grateful to be able to do half the things that I can do and be able to with the lectures and stuff to this effect, because I really believe it's healthy. It's healthy for your mind to keep it going. And that's why you're in constant process of developing, and changing is part of that. The same thing spiritually. We're in constant process of filling our soul, of growing. So we learn new things in new directions. I thank God every day. I start my day with prayer. I start my day with meditation. I start my day with input. I start my day with learning new things about myself as a person. I always smile at this because people always say to me, since I was a priest at one time, they say, "Are you still Catholic?" And I say, sometimes. Sometimes I'm Jewish, sometimes I'm Muslim, sometimes I'm Buddhist, sometimes I'm this, sometimes I'm that. I can learn anything from anybody. When I was a priest and I was stationed in an African American parish in Atlantic City, around the corner from our rectory, we had a mosque. And I used to go over and visit the mosque, and I actually went to their prayer services. And they really were beautiful. And I enjoyed my time with them. Then I'll tell you a funny story. We had this guy, Jimmy. Jimmy was the minister of a church down the street, the African Methodist Evangelical Church. And he was right down the corner from our church. And every once in a while, Jimmy would want to go away for the weekend. He'd call me up and he'd say, "Father, do me a favor, will you? Cover my services." I say, "Okay, Jim, I'll take care of him." So his service were 11 o'clock and our mass was 11 o'clock. So I told the people in our mass, I said, "I'll tell you what, just for today, we're going down to Jimmy's. Come on, let's go down the corner." Okay. We'll do everything together. And so I had a combination Catholic Protestant service. We had a lot of fun together with that one. And at the end, they came up to me to get baptized and said, "What church do we belong to now?" I said, "You belong to both. Not a problem." Okay. So stop in any one you want to. And we had a lot of fun. But the bottom line was, life is like that. We got to be able to be open to new things, new changes, new development, new ways, new concepts. And I really get excited about this because I really believe that change is a gift. There's a gratitude in change because change is a constant process of learning, developing new things, experiencing new things. And I know one thing in my life I want to be able to do is to experience as much as I can before I leave this earth, to experience people, to experience new people and new concepts and new directions. And so that's a powerful process, to be open to change. And that's why this mosaic we're developing has to have this element of change in it, this element of new growth, this element of moving forward. But the biggest part about that is we have to come to acceptance. One of the biggest parts of grieving, we have to be able to accept the reality of what is. One of my favorite readings I do every morning, and those that are in AA, it's my green card. Now I think the new one is called the blue card. But in my green card, it's a little raggedy from being around all these years. But the card says, yesterday, today, and tomorrow. Now, yesterday, with all the things I've experienced, we've all gone through, it is over. I got to be able to acknowledge it, to be able to accept it. The card also says that tomorrow's not here yet. So to be open to wherever the journey of life is going to take you tomorrow, even though you don't know what it is. And I know how hard that is for most of us that are codependents, because we want to know the answer to everything before we do anything. And now you're going to find out. You can't. We don't know about tomorrow. And that's why the most important word on that card is today. So for this day, in your life. Do the best you can for the day, and then be able to move forward. I looked at today in my own life and realized this is a day I don't want to do anything today. I feel like being a bum today. And so I had some bum periods today. It was nice. Looking like that. I just didn't feel like it. So you have to have a day like that every once in a while. So Loretta and I went out to lunch. We had fun today. It was nice. And so the thing is, I realized we need days like that. Otherwise, what do? We'll burn ourselves out. And that's why it's so important to be able to develop a sense of balance in your life and just kind of take it with the flow and go with it. But we got to be open to change. That's why that beautiful phrase in our recovery program, the willingness to change and the willingness to grow. The most important word is willingness. Willingness to develop new things in new directions, even in recovery. Willingness to experience new areas in life. I've experienced so many different programs in my life and in my journey. And I realize today, things are continuously moving forward. So now I belong to another recovery program called EDA, Eating Disorders Anonymous, which I love. It's another experience, another gift, another place to learn new things. They have their big book, and I'm learning a lot from that book. So all these different things we experience, we go through. It's a big part of the journey, a big part of life. And so we learn after a while, you really have to be able to have a little bit of a sense of adventure. And adventure is what it's really all about. And that's where that reading tonight about, healing, being healthy, doing a sense of healthy thinking, being positive, and doing the best you can with each experience in life. Even now, we're going through another phase of the pandemic. We have to try to do the best we can with it and try to be as positive as we can be and try to, learn as much as we can and be open to new things and new directions. Realize the fact that we live in a human world. And that's where forgiveness and healing comes into play. And a lot of things we don't know the answers to. And more than likely, we'll never know the answers to. And that's okay. That's why it's important just to keep the thing flowing and just keep moving and just keep learning. So when I talk about change, I really believe very deeply in that beautiful aspect of change. I believe that all of us are in process of changing. Even socially, we're changing. Your social contacts, they change as time goes on. Your groups of friends, things you experience, neighborhoods you live in, different types of things in different directions. It's amazing when you look back on it. I went from Camden, being a city boy, back in the 40s, sleeping outdoors at night on the steps because we had no heat, we had no air conditioning in our house, when it got too hot. And then basically to now I live in a 55 and over community and more rural area. It's a nice area. I'm looking out my window right behind the computer here in a beautiful, beautiful woodsy area. It's kind of neat. And so I had to go through a lot of changes. I still got a little bit of the city inside of me, but I love it out here. I love being around people. I love new experiences and new directions. And so I think that's the most important part of it, to experience that. As we watch our kids even grow, as well as I, change is a constant process in life. I always tell you the story. I performed a lot of marriages in my life, and I still remember, I always joke about this. I say, I have two young people in front of me and they make that promise. I promise to love you the way I love you today until the day I die. I have to shoot them before they leave the altar. The minute they turn around, they've changed already. And then as they go through the journey of their relationship, it keeps changing. Then the invaders come along. Their children, by the way, changes again, and it keeps changing. And then later on in life, we have grandkids, and then maybe great grandkids, and the process goes on and it goes on and it goes on. There's always this process of change taking place. That's exciting. And yet sometimes it's scary. And yet the most important thing as we build this mosaic of life is to try to be open to it and try to realize we're on this journey together. That's why I've learned over the years, that's why that sense of family, You can't do it alone. You can't. We need each other. Isolation is destructive. We need people in our life. We need to be connected with people. We need to be around other individuals. And I've learned over and over again, every individual person I've met in my life has been a teacher, has been a gift. I don't look at people as clients. I see them as another phase of my growth and my development. They're just people that have come into my life to maybe help me to become a better person and to move in different directions. And so over the course of being connected with Starting Point, I probably have encountered thousands and thousands of people. And I know some of them call me up from 1982 and say, "Do you remember me?" And I say, I don't know. I always say, well, if I can see your face, maybe I do. And so sometimes I do. And I had a great experience the other day. I got a visit from a beautiful couple, that I worked with years ago at Charter Fairmont Hospital. And they looked me up and they came and had lunch with me. And it was so beautiful to be able to see them and spend time with them and be able to experience them and go back, to some of the things. And they asked me all kinds of questions about people from the past and all that. And I got to be honest with you. Some I could answer, but many of them I couldn't answer. I just didn't know. And yet I realized over and over, because you got to realize, my first connection with them was in 1984. That's a little while ago. And that's okay. Because I realized over and over again how special that is. And I have so much gratitude today. And gratitude is the gift. And that's why I say when we build this mosaic, we have to build it with an attitude of gratitude, an attitude of humility, an attitude of love and healing, with an attitude of acceptance. You got to be able to realize the fact that these are the beautiful attitudes we have to work on each and every day of our life. And to realize the fact that God sends beautiful, special people into our life to teach us more things about ourselves, to go through more growing. And that's why we have relationships. And that's why we have children. That's why we have individuals. All these people are part of our journey. And it's okay because they have to keep growing too, and they got to keep learning, and they got to keep moving forward. And the hardest thing is letting go and allowing the journey to lead us where we're supposed to go. And so my prayer tonight, I really want to spend time just kind of asking God to guide us and be with us as we walk the journey. And please help us to be open to changes, to be open to new things and new directions, to be open to where the journey of life is leading us, to be open to new adventures, to have an open mind and be open to change and to allow change to take place, even though sometimes we don't want it to take place. And yet it's going to make it take place. And it's okay. It's okay to acknowledge our needs and get our needs met. Not getting met someplace else, go someplace else and get them met. And that's okay. Change is part of the journey. You got to keep opening and keep changing. It's the same thing as regards to life. If I'm learning something from this place, I take what I can use from it. I may have to go someplace else to get something else, because all of us have different gifts and different talents and different concepts and different ways of doing things. And that's why we have to honor one another and honor the gifts of each other. And those gifts, those changes, as we honor them, we allow others to go through their changes too and allow them their journey. And not to try to control, because to me, I said it back in the beginning of this whole series, the biggest enemy to gratitude is control and fear. Control and fear. We're going to be afraid sometimes on the journey, but don't let fear take over your life. Be open to new things, new directions, and be able to let go of control. That's why I love that first, second, and third step in the program, especially that third one where it says, let go and let God. Stop trying to run the ball game and let the ball game be connected to you. It's hard sometimes. It's interesting too, because I learned this in sports. You're always making changes. If something isn't working, then you have to make a change to make something else work. There's always adjustments and changes. That's why I told you before, one of my favorite spiritual words on the face of this earth is the word adjustment. We have to adjust to life physically. We have to adjust mentally. We have to adjust socially. We have to adjust spiritually. Adjustment is part of life. It's part of learning. It's part of growing. As I get older, I know, and now I have those wonderful things called senior moments, where all of a sudden I forget something and then later on remember it. It's okay. It's all part of it. You're supposed to have them. Now, I know a lot of teenagers who have senior moments. That's just no problem at all, because they forget things too. They don't really forget. They just don't want you to think they remember it. But it's really a fun part about the journey. And so the other thing is, the other attitude is the attitude of humor. Never stop laughing at yourself. Because we're funny, even when we're not funny. Laughter is a great therapeutic tool. It's a great way to loosen up and to relax. And so I want to share this prayer tonight just to help us, just to be able to take this gift of gratitude, the gift of change, and be open to new things and new directions, and be able to have a beautiful, healthy, positive attitude as we experience all these new directions we're going through in life, whatever they happen to be, even the sad ones, even the things that hurt, we try to accept. And so let us pray. God, we come before you in the spirit of love, in the spirit of gentleness, and the spirit of humility. We ask for your guidance. We ask for your strength. We ask that you will walk with us on the journey of life. Help us to begin to look at things through the eyes of growing, through the eyes of change, through the eyes of openness. Teach us not to be afraid, but to be able to do these things with your help and your guidance. Teach us always to be able to ask for your help. Teach us to look at those who have gone before us, all those, even at starting point on our memorial wall, all those who are part of our journey. Look at them and realize they were people that came before us. They're people we've learned things from. We've went through loss with many of them. Even the ones that have died sad, it's still okay. It's about healing. It's about moving. It's about moving forward. We just don't know. So God, I know you have a plan. Teach me to be open to that plan, and teach me with gratitude for each day I have on this earth. For the greatest gift you've given is the gift of life. And as we build this beautiful mosaic, God, help us to use all these tools in our new toolbox, just to be able to use these as we go through the journey, but to try to do it with an attitude of gratitude. So thank you, God. Thank you for the journey. Thank you for the help. And thank you for the guides. And help us to be open to them. We pray and we ask this in your name. Amen. And now we're going to try to do the Mormon Tabernacle Choir now. So just unmute yourself, and we're going to try desperately to, in unison, the reversion of the Serenity Prayer. Good luck.
God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. God's will, not mine, be done.